I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Belarus.
Уважаемый господин председатель,
Distinguished President, we are truly grateful to the President of the General Assembly for convening today's event on peace building and sustaining peace. When the event was just being planned, no one probably could have imagined in what international context we would be holding it today. Today, we're all once again solemnly reaffirming our commitment to sustaining peace. Meanwhile, behind our backs, unprecedented conflicts are evolving, accompanied by direct military aggression, provocations of a national level, threats, and militant rhetoric. Hundreds of thousands of people are subjected to suffering because of the aggressive geopolitical ambitions of certain states. The world is effectively sliding into a new Cold War and is on the brink of a potential use of weapons of mass destruction. If you look at certain formal indicators, the Third World War is not simply possible, it is already underway. Contemporary politics and military technologies are such that war doesn't always take the form of massive battles with tank armies, artillery, aviation, and the Navy. According to some assessments, at least 1/3 of all existing states today are in one way or another involved in combat operations, which is more than the number of states participating in the Second World War. We have all recently witnessed events in Syria, which constituted a blatant act of aggression against a sovereign state. Based on unfounded allegations and bypassing the Security Council, Damascus was subjected to a massive rocket strike. This is also how the war in Iraq began in its time, and someone is probably still searching for weapons of mass destruction there to this day. The people of Syria have become hostages of this confrontation. The Islamic State has de facto been defeated, but there is no end in sight to the war. The degree of confrontation between the largest states in the world today has reached a critical point. Accusations of using chemical weapons, manipulations with falsehoods at the highest international level, the spread of bogus stories, unabashed bullying of certain countries, sanctions and counter-sanctions have taken the situation to the point of absurdity. For some state leaders, war has become a method of political self-assertion. And this is all taking place against a backdrop of an utter crisis of diplomacy and of the United Nations, which is the main international organization called upon to prevent and address international conflicts. The status of a superpower, in our view, implies and imposes super responsibility for preserving international peace and security. Otherwise, such a superpower risks turning into a barbarian armed with a modern tomahawk. Belarus has always followed a peaceful, non-confrontational approach to international relations, and we are not only actively involved in the implementation of peace initiatives in our region, in Eastern Europe, we are also donors of regional stability and security. Back in 2015, the President of the Republic of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, when speaking at the general debate of the 70th session of the General Assembly, suggested the need to hold a new, broad discussion on the principles of the future coexistence of states and on the inextricable link between the well-being and development of peoples with issues of ensuring universal peace and stability and security. The implementation of Belarus's initiative to recreate a comprehensive process to guide relations between East and West, similar to the Helsinki process, could give us all a chance at a better future, at geopolitical calm and peace and stability. A true fight for peace, a fight for peace, not a war for peace, is all the more important today. The political ineptitude of certain state officials and extremist groups using religion as a pretext against the backdrop of the world's stockpile of weapons of mass destructions and increasingly primitive ways of carrying out terrorist attacks, which no longer require elaborate preparation nor much financing. All this is turning the entire world into a potential theater of war. Responsible, civilized states should not support conflicts. They should not create new flashpoints of conflict. They should not engage in a war of sanctions. They should learn to once again talk to one another, to come to an agreement, to show political will, set their ambitions to the side, and unite in the name of universal peace and prosperity. Sustaining peace is in the hands of states themselves. Our common future depends exclusively on the good faith efforts of each and every country. I thank you.
I thank the distinguished representative of Belarus.